tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
All right, hello everyone, Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Sunday morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so with that all being said, let's get ready to have a brief word from our sponsor. Hello, Alice. Anita is in the virtual building. G from the land. All right, Pearly. All right, Demecia, Mr. Elevation. All right, let's get into it, Pretty Wings. The lovely T. All right, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, so before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so yesterday, we already know that another citizen, a U.S. citizen, lost their life due to ICE. And the White House was painting a very nefarious story. Okay, so let's get into it. Everyone hit that like button. Don't forget to like and share. And excuse me for just a couple of minutes. While you are looking at some of these videos, I'm going to be uploading some things that I forgot to upload before I started this live. That's my bad. I have like two more things to upload. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to first go to a TikTok that I did about Mr. Alex Pretti. That's his name, Mr. Alex Pretti. And he was 37 years old. Okay, so let's get into it. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. Alex Pretti, a 37-year-old VA intensive care nurse, lost his life today at the hands of ICE, and now he's been painted as a domestic terrorist. Let's get into it. Pretti was simply trying to assist two women who were being pepper sprayed by ICE agents. One of the women was shoved down to the ground by one of the agents, and he used both hands, using a lot of force. She fell to the ground, and Pretti just tried to put himself between her and the agent. He was holding a cell phone in his hand because he was recording the whole thing. Obviously, ICE got mad because he put himself in the way, and also because he was recording them, because we all know they do not like to be recorded, and that's because they're usually breaking the law. Please pay attention. A woman who witnessed the whole thing says that Pretti told them that he was licensed to carry. So that explains why they would have been searching his person and looking for the GAT. Once they found it, you can clearly see on the video, when you slow it down, zoom in, and watch it frame by frame, you literally see one of the agents walking away with the GAT in his hand. So this man was unarmed after they had him down on the ground, but they still continue to fill him full of lead. Please pay attention. And now the Trump administration is trying to paint this man as some sort of domestic terrorist, as if he brought the GAT there to the protest so that he could start something, so he could do something nefarious. At the end of the day, this man was licensed to carry. He had every right to have his weapon on him. And I find it interesting that some of the same people who are always talking about their Second Amendment rights, okay, they're not saying anything about this. Where is the NRA? Why aren't they speaking? So you mean to tell me that now you can get taken out by ICE just for simply exercising your Second Amendment right? I find that absolutely nefarious, don't you? Mr. Pretty's family also issued a statement, and this is what they had to say. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Unfortunately, he will not be here with us to see his impact. Tricia McLaughlin, the Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, alleged in the statement that Pretti approached the U.S. Border Patrol officers while armed with a GAT and violently resisted as they attempted to disarm him. Please pay attention. This is their version of the events. The family took aim at the United States leadership under President Donald Trump, writing in their statement, the sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. And I have to absolutely agree. Donald J. Trump should be 100% ashamed of himself. And at the end of the day, how far is this going to go? How many more lives will be lost? How many more lives will be told? Are they going to defund ICE? They absolutely need to, because at this point, it seems like we're operating in 1945 Germany. Please pay attention. Rest in peace to Mr. Alex Jeffrey Pretti, and may the agents who took his life land in prison where they belong. All right, because that's absolutely nefarious. Now, at the end of the day, I see some of you saying this is the same thing that happens to us. Yes, it absolutely is. Okay, now imagine that. The same thing that has happened to Black people for decades. And if you remember, those of you who've been following me, I told you this back in 2020 when all of the protesting about George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor was going on. I said, for the racist people who want to sit there and make asinine excuses for why these things continue to happen to people who look like me, and then they want to justify it by saying, oh, the person should have done this, they should have followed orders, or they should have, not been committing a crime and all of these things. I said, one day it's going to start happening to them. Okay, that's what I told them. One day it's going to start happening to them. You see, because the devils always eat their own. And that's exactly what's going on right now. Okay, that's exactly what is going on right now. They're witnessing the same thing happening to them in the streets as they have historically seen happen to Black folk. Only difference is now the excuses don't fly. You see, the excuse that Trump made, that his administration made, saying that the man had a gun and that he pulled the gun on the ICE agents and they feared for their lives. See, that's not going to fly with white folk. Okay, that type of story and rhetoric only flies when it's Black people. That's when they can get away with saying that. But now that's just not going to fly because the white folk are saying, oh no, this was unjustified. He wasn't resisting. That's what they're saying. But when it's us doing the exact same thing, we should have obeyed lawful commands. I want you all to pay attention. Now, it's very sad and tragic that Mr. Pretti lost his life. But at the end of the day, this is a full circle moment. And people need to pay attention. And another thing that I see happening too is for the MAGA minions who are still stuck on stupid, as far as I'm concerned, who are still backing up Trump and they just love what he's doing. What they fail to realize is they're coming for the Second Amendment rights. If this man was gunned down in the streets by ICE agents because he had a license to carry and had his weapon on him, as he had every right to do, well, are they in fact saying that people should not be able to carry guns when they're at a protest? Or are they going to start dictating when you can carry a gun or if you can in fact carry one? I just have questions. Now, yesterday I said that I had not heard the NRA say anything, but they have now released a statement about the whole situation. And first off, let's get into what the White House had to say about it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Let me just pull this up. Now, this is what Trump posted, and then had the nerve to even include a picture of the gun. For good measure, I suppose. Okay, this is what he posted. It says, "This is the gunman's gun, loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What's it all about? Where are the local police? Why aren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor call them off. It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her account?" Now, what does Ilhan Omar having money in her account have to do with ICE and the shooting? Okay, see how he just goes off topic? And where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state of Minnesota? Where we are there because of massive monetary fraud, with billions of dollars missing, and illegal criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state through the Democrats' open border policy. Do you all hear this idiot? We want the money back, and we want it back now. Those fraudsters who stole that money are going to jail where they belong. This is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover up from this theft and fraud. The mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that has been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they were still there, you would see something far worse than what you're witnessing today. You all hear this? And there's a picture of the gun, like I said. Trump is such a piece of work. Jerry said, why does he have 34 felony counts? Exactly. But he has the nerve to call someone else a criminal. I find it all so interesting. Now, this is what someone posted about Mr. Pretti. 37-year-old ICU nurse Alex Pretti murdered by ICE in broad daylight with zero justification for deadly force. I mean, zero. This feels like a watershed moment in American history that should enact change, but won't. Very reminiscent of Sandy Hook, when we all said, if that didn't get us to change, we never will. Feels like another one of those. Because if you cannot admit this was wrong, you're either an idiot or a liar. And I think you're a bad person and an un-American a-hole. The hypocrisy from the same people who have been proudly screaming about the First and Second Amendment for hundreds of years, now trying to say protesting and carrying a legal firearm is reason enough to be murdered. What a joke. And the response from our leaders, from Donald Trump to Tim Walz, is all dangerous and pathetic. We're just a third world country now, where masked morons with no training and a gun can kill you for no reason other than, well, we won't get in trouble for it. Out of all the dumb entities to blindly follow. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. It says, for all of the dumb entities to blindly follow, be of your political affiliation. Supporting ICE is by far the most pathetic. ICE agents and their supporters, the biggest trash in America, maybe ever. All right, so he clearly is ticked off. Now, this is what the NRA had to say. This sentiment from the first assistant U.S. attorney for the Central District of California is dangerous and wrong. Responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making generalizations and demonizing law-abiding citizens. Okay, do y'all hear this? Now, they say the United States Attorney Bill, whatever that is, if you approach law enforcement with a gun, there is a high likelihood they will be legally justified in shooting you. Now, this was their response to what this post said. Okay, the FA United States Attorney. Now, with that all being said, I guess they're coming out and saying something, and I'm pretty sure Trump's going to have a problem with that because he's supposed to be in so good with them. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, Mac Randolph says, Mr. Alex Pretti, he was my dad's ICU nurse. He read my dad's final salute at the VA after he passed away. Never wanted to share this video, but his speech is very on point. Also, my father's final words to me was continue to fight the good fight. He will be honored in Alex's sacrifice and ashamed of this current administration. In my dad's words, I encourage you all to continue to fight the good fight. All right, and here's the last one. Dmitry Drakonja, MD. This is a nurse, a doctor who worked with him. Alex Peretti was a colleague at the VA. We hired him to recruit for our something. I can't see that. He became an ICU nurse. I loved working with him. He was a good, kind person who lived to help, and those uckers executed him. All right. So sad. May this man rest in peace at the end of the day. It would be nice if they would just absolutely defund ICE, but I doubt they're going to. Because here's the thing. Right now, it's up to the Senate. So the U.S. House of Representatives passed a Homeland Security funding bill that includes funding for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, i.e. ICE. Okay, about $10 billion for ICE out of a roughly $64.4 billion Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill. Now, that House vote was 220 to 207, with 7 Democrats joining Republicans to pass it despite widespread Democratic opposition because of controversial ICE actions, including recent shootings in Minnesota. So some of the Democrats are going along with it. Please pay attention. Now, the Senate has not yet passed the bill. Senate Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, have announced plans to block or oppose the spending package if the DHS portion, which includes ICE funding, remains in it. Okay, saying there should be stronger reforms or they don't provide votes for it as written. Now, this means the funding measure's fate in the Senate is uncertain, and it hasn't become law as of yet. So the House version must be approved by the Senate and signed by the president before the January 30th government funding deadline to avoid a partial government shutdown. Senate Democrats say they will withhold support unless changes are made, especially regarding ICE oversight and restrictions. Okay. Something definitely needs to be done. The lovely T said they're all in it together. I absolutely believe so, beloved. I told you all that. at the end of the day, when we can see that the Democrats are just quiet or they're just, complaining but not doing anything, not putting forth any action, I mean, you just have to say, what are they really up to? Okay, so now I'm going to share a couple of videos. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Share a couple of videos on X. Then we're going to get into some more of this ICE stuff. And also Tiffany Cross, how she went in on one of Trump's most loyal minions. Okay, now this is Alex Pretti when he's reading the final honors, honoring the soldier who passed away at the hospital. This is the one that the man posted about, saying that he read his father's final honors.
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude. Terrence Lee Randolph.
All right, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. Now, this is a clip from the young woman, not the young woman, but the woman who was arrested for going inside the church. We're going to talk about that some more too, about Don Lemon and whatnot. Nakima Levi Armstrong. Okay, she was in detention with ICE. This is video footage of her in the elevator. This is her in the elevator and what the conversation was.
I'm sorry about all this, but we're not the persons to ask questions to. We're just here to escort you.
I understand, but this is overkill. You've actually apprehended criminals, and you know that this is a significant abuse of power, and it's retaliation because I refuse to be silent in the face of brutality by ICE. Let's be honest.
We're just here to escort
you. You can't even say that with a straight face, sir. See?
I don't want to know. I'm not in here to get into a political debate.
But you can't say it with a straight face, right? So I'm going to pray for you that God touches your heart and deals with you because you know that this is wrong and you're participating.
This would make it so much easier on that part.
God will hold you accountable.
You understand? You're wrong with me. Well, no, we know what we're here for.
As a reverend and a lawyer, this is how we treat it.
The U.S. attorney had agreed to let her turn herself in, and then he spoke to the higher
Arrest
ups.
Jonathan Ross for killing Renee Good, but they will arrest me for leading the church protest. Honestly, can you not record me? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So slow because it's
Yeah, we don't want you slipping your eyes.
That was funny. That was actually pretty funny.
all the things in the world. We all.
Let's go.
We're gonna get in this truck.
So, can you get my things? I'll be at the St. Paul Courthouse. Thank you, Jordan. Are you going to follow us there?
With all that stuff aside.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there. Yeah, I'll hold you back here.
Can I give her a kiss?
Oh, of course.
We're going to seatbelt up when we're in there, and we're going to take it straight to the St. Paul courthouse, okay? You guys can follow us. No problem. We can call you? Yeah, you guys can follow us. Oh, call. Oh, do you have your number? We're going to go straight there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on and move forward. With that all being said, now I want to go to this video where this guy shows frame by frame and he zooms in and he literally shows one of the agents taking the man's firearm. So there's no way they can say that he was a threat. The man was absolutely disarmed when they shot him multiple times as he lay there on the ground. Now I'm not going to show this whole thing because I'm going to try to skip past some of the melee that ensued, but get to the part where you can clearly see the agent taking the weapon and walking away with it, in fact. Okay, I'm going to start it right here. Now, if you can see, I believe this is it right here. Let me go to this clip. Now, pay attention to the agent that walks away. He's clearly got a gun in his hand.
Right there.
Let me go back.
Play it again, and I'm going to zoom in. Right there.
Now, did you all see that? Once in the chat, if you all saw that. Once in the chat, if you all saw the gun in his hand. Leon said, please pay attention. And Queen Hewitt said the gun went off. Yes, it did. That's the thing. These untrained, bumbling idiots, when he took the gun and was walking away, the gun went off, which is likely what made them start shooting because they were scared. Bunch of cowards. Now, they should have known that the person on the ground, the victim, didn't shoot anything because his gun was already taken, but that gun went off supposedly. Okay, so you all claim that you saw it. Okay, so we know that Trump is just a liar who lies.
Grabbed Alex Pretti's legal firearm, which I carry around a fucking firearm all the time. Grabbed it out of his waistband and he accidentally discharged his firearm. And that freaked everybody else out and they fucking murdered him. And how fucking dare this administration post this shit on X, saying that Alex approached him with a 9mm handgun and he violently resisted and he wanted to inflict maximum damage on these officers. This is shit that fucking Iran does. Do you understand that? I am a licensed firearm owner, and how fucking dare you?
Okay, you see the outrage, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But at the end of the day, if there had been the same level of outrage when it was people who look like me, they likely wouldn't have these things continually happening, and now it's happening to them. Okay, at the end of the day. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. DJ Big Six said, okay, now what? DJ Big Six, please don't start, okay? Please don't start. And let me just remind my moderators. Hold on, while I'm thinking about this, let me just remind my moderators. Are any of my moderators in here? They're probably sleeping in. But anyway, I'll wait till they get in here because I need to remind them of something. Okay, now with that all being said, let's go to this clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Another American citizen shot dead in the streets of Minneapolis by our own government. Now, the facts are still coming in on this awful incident, and I will wait for them. But we can say two things for certain at this point. First, we cannot trust the federal government under Donald Trump to tell us the truth. They lie. They lied about the killing of Renee Good. She didn't run anyone over or try to run anyone over, as the president and members of his administration claimed. Whatever you think about the ICE officer who shot Renee Good, The plain facts show she did not try to kill that man, but they lie. J.D. Vance came to Minneapolis last week, and he lied. He lied about the Fourth Amendment, and he lied about the case of that little boy, the 5-year-old, who was taken by federal agents after his father fled from them. They said the boy's mother, quote, abandoned him. Disgraceful. She was inside the home, justifiably terrified about what ICE might do to her and her other children if she opened that door. They lied.
And they were so low down and nefarious, beloveds, they actually tried to pretty much dangle that little 5-year-old child as a carrot. Okay? That's what they did. These people are so low down and nefarious, and then sitting up there lying.
And already in this case, federal forces occupying Minneapolis have limited the access of state and local law enforcement to the crucial early stages of this investigation. And before any actual investigation has taken place, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a conclusory statement about exactly what happened and who is at fault. That is not law enforcement. That is impunity. They lie. And second, Minneapolis has now become the critical battleground in this terrible struggle we are all engaged in to preserve our democracy as we have understood it for generations. Like Selma, like Montgomery, like the great struggles in our country's history, Minneapolis and its people are now the crucible of our future. To them, to all real patriots, be safe, be true, above all, be strong.
All right, these people are so low down. Yeah, they sat there with that poor 5-year-old and then had the nerve to lie and say the mother abandoned the child. She was in the house with the rest of her children, afraid to come out, just like you said. Now, with that being said, let's go to Kristi Noem's lying self and what people are saying about this. First, we're going to go to this news report about Mr. Pretti. Then we're going to Kristi Noem. I cannot wait till they impeach her.
And we have just learned the identity of the 37-year-old man who was killed in Minneapolis today. According to sources familiar with the investigation, his name is Alex Jeffrey Pretti. The Minnesota Star-Tribune reporting that he lived on Garfield Avenue in South Minneapolis. This was about 1.5 miles southwest of where he was killed. Before he was identified, the Minneapolis police chief said at a press conference earlier today that Pretti's criminal record only showed some parking tickets. The chief adding Pretti was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry a firearm in public. His parents say he was an ICU nurse. The Minnesota Star-Tribune reports that Pretti attended the University of Minnesota. His LinkedIn page stating he was a junior scientist at the University of Minnesota Medical School starting in 2012. And state records show Pretti was issued a license in 2021 to be a registered nurse, and it remained active through March 2026. And we have just learned the identity of the
Okay, now with that all been said, let's go to Kristi Noem. Okay, with more lies as per usual. Dynamic Quality said, who gives a damn about these traffic tickets? And then also, no, that's not the one I was looking for. The one where you said Kristi Noem might be worse than Trump. Well, she lies just as much as he does, if not more.
Also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. About hundreds, he also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
Now, I had to play that twice because I wanted you all to hear the lies. Did you all hear that? She acted as though this man was a whole mass shooter or would-be mass shooter. Said he came there to kill law enforcement. I mean, the nefarious and the heinous lies that they make up to demonize people. And I want you all to pay attention. This, too, is nothing new. They have done this for decades to Black people. And how many times have I told you all that Max Weber, former journalist, before he passed away, said that one of the things he hated the most were the manufactured stories that they had to create on the African American community. Do you see how they just lie and spew propaganda, racist rhetoric, and just all sorts of BS and foolishness? Talking about this man came there to kill law enforcement and to do maximum damage. That's what they said. This is all so crazy. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let's go. Let me see. I think this is the protesting. Yeah, this is a clip from a 70-year-old man who's out there in Minnesota. And boy, is he mad. That's right. DJ Big Six said his family should sue for libel and slander. Honey, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was wondering, are they going to sue? Because I sure would.
Ah! Look out! Down! Okay. I'm fine. I didn't even breathe anything. I'm just angry. I'm 70 years old. Angry.
Man, so he's 70 years old. He does not have time for this foolishness. Okay? This is all a hot mess. Hold on, beloveds. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Don Lemon. I know some of you don't like Don Lemon, but let's talk about it. Because when Don Lemon heard that the judge refused to charge him,
My kick, the words, my faith, can't even on keeping money safe. It's like an earthquake, don't calling you out. Quit a close to head, just get it from the back. Such a nice place, just a more for all. Marching on, Queen Royals, we own the throne. Through highs and lows, we stand strong. Every time open a sex gate, my kid.
All right, Don, you can flaunt if you want to, but Trump said they're still coming, buddy. Trump said they're still coming, buddy. Don't you wait. All right, because those sneaky devils said they're going to get him one way or another. Bondi said basically she's going to get Don Lemon charged or die trying. That's pretty much what she said. I'm not even joking. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention because she was beyond livid. Okay, she wasn't just angry. She was beyond mad. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go to the footage. They need to leave Don Lemon alone as far as I'm concerned. Don didn't do anything wrong. Okay?
Finding us those Epstein files. What is she doing? She's over there crying to Sean Hannity on Fox News about Don Lemon. She said he is an online agitator, lied and said he made a woman break her arm when she was running out of the building that she called a church, said he was terrorizing parishioners, and a failed CNN journalist.
Commentary, obviously, in support of them. Does the fact that he claims to be an independent journalist, does that factor into the law at all?
Well, he's an online agitator. That's what he is now. And sure, if you're a journalist and you're covering a story, that's not what he was doing. We all know that. We have the video. It speaks for itself. He was in there with all these other people. If you were in there, if you protested and went into that church on the Sunday and you terrorized the parishioners. We are coming after you. That pastor is a wonderful man. I met with that pastor. Sean, these people were staged sitting in the church as well. Then they burst in through all doors, including Don Lemon, and started harassing and antagonizing and terrorizing these parishioners. A woman ran out the back door, scared to death, and broke her arm. We are coming after you if you participated in that. I don't care who you are. If you're a failed CNN journalist, you have no right to do that in this country. We don't live in a third world country. We're going to protect our houses of worship in this country.
Wow, Miss Pam Bondi. It's amazing. It's actually incredible that you had nothing nice to say about Don Lemon. You called him everything but a child of God only because he's simply showing the American people what's really happening in Minneapolis. Yeah, we want to know if federal agents are committing crimes. And if they are committing crimes, they should be held accountable. Speaking of crimes, why won't you go ahead and get the officer and hold him accountable for causing all of this by discharging his firearm in Renee Good? Better yet, why not go ahead and produce those Epstein files like the DOJ should be doing based on the laws of the land, you know, the Epstein Transparency Act? Since you got so much time, it's amazing to me how you have so much time to go after Don Lemon, but you can't bring yourself to release those Epstein files. Like I've said, the United States right now, I don't even recognize it. It's truly a place that's, I'm ashamed to admit, I'm from. I apologize to the rest of the world that has to witness the United States of America deal with this corrupt and wicked administration, right? We're going to try to get this straightened out. But in the meantime, Miss Pam Bondi, if you can, do us all a huge favor. Let go of the Don Lemon stuff and get us those Epstein files, all right? We'd really appreciate it. Instead of...
That's the last thing she's going to do. Okay, that's what all of this is a mere distraction from anything pertaining to the Epstein files. But where do you get a load to this, beloveds? Okay, so Pam Bondi basically sent a letter that one could deem easily as an extortion attempt. Okay, I want you to pay attention. Now, here's what she said. Now, I got this receipt from Midas Touch. Please pay attention. Okay, now look at this. Says, as insane as it sounds, it's true. Pam Bondi sent Minnesota officials a letter today saying ICE would leave the state if Minnesota turns over its voter files to the Trump administration. Now, they're openly using state violence as a bargaining chip to seize election infrastructure. Do you all hear this? Now, if true, how nefarious is it? Okay, I want you all to pay attention. But not only that, very upset because they won't go ahead and have Don Lemon arrested. Let me tell you what else they did. Let me pull up the paperwork. Now I want you all to pay attention because they're so desperate to get Don Lemon charged. So they went to the chief district court judge, okay, that was appointed by George Bush. They went to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, went around the other judges' back, basically, and tried to get Don Lemon indicted. So here's what the judge said. Dear Chief Judge Colleton, I apologize for addressing this letter to you, but for reasons I will describe, I do not have any other option. I'm working from home today, as the program that my mentally disabled adult son attends each day is closed because of the extreme cold. At 11:34 a.m., I received an email regarding case number 26-1135 entitled, in reference, United States of America, the order in its entirety read. The motion or the order in its entirety read, the motion of the United States to seal is granted. The Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the District of Minnesota is invited to file a response at his discretion. Now, to the petition for writ of mandamus, any response is due by 2 p.m. Friday, January the 23rd. This is the first that I have heard of any petition for a writ of mandamus. Now, the United States did not have the courtesy to tell me that they would be filing such a petition, nor did the United States serve the petition on me. I am unable to access any documents on case number 26-1135 because at the request of the United States, the case is sealed, apparently even from me. So I have been given about 2.5 hours to respond to a mandamus petition that I have not read and cannot read. Apparently, I'm supposed to guess what the petition is about and guess what the mandamus petition says and then respond. I will do so. Do y'all hear this? What kind of foolishness? When I tell you these people are something else, Pretty Wing says a federal judge wouldn't charge him, so they go to a local judge. So desperate. Honey, they are beyond desperate, okay? Now, listen to this. I don't know who told this man this, but he was so excited and thrilled and skinning and grinning from ear to ear. I want you all to pay attention because he says Don Lemon's going to jail. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Got breaking news, and if you're Don Lemon, you better be shaking in your boots right now. Appeals court just found probable cause to charge Don Lemon for the storming of the Minneapolis church. It may not happen right here, right now, but he will be going to jail, and everyone that was connected with that will be going to jail. Hopefully, this is just the start of what is about to happen. As American citizens, you cannot continue going lawless like this. Like, these people believe that the Constitution and America's laws no longer apply to them because they don't like them. They believe that they can go out and do and say and attack whatever and whoever they want simply because laws don't apply to them because they said so. They don't agree with the president and the American people, so they don't have to follow the laws. Look, y'all might be connected, Don, but I have a feeling the American people are about to get a win.
Do y'all hear him? He needs to sit down somewhere. Now, this man here says Don Lemon is a snitch. I want you all to pay attention. He said Don Lemon is a snitch and that he snitched on the activists that came up in the church. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Friend under the bus. I'm a beautiful black homosexual male. She's the real culprit, my buddy. Oh, and I'll show you. They are friends. Don Lemon does 6 hours of recording. He thinks he's a journalist, but what he really did was he did 6 hours of showing people, including him, commit crime, committing offenses. What you're about to see is the reason why Bondi is now arresting these people.
And we all have the address, right?
Yes. Everybody has the address.
Yeah.
Remember, if you have anything.
Now, please pay attention because this is them planning what they're going to do when they go inside the church.
That is activists identifying. Do not wear it in if you're going in to just sit down and be a part of the situation. Yeah, don't all sit together. So if you are a white ally, again, and you have anything activism identifying, do not go in with the first wave. You wait until you come in with us as people of color. Okay?
But there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here. So thank you guys thanks for allowing me to be here.
Okay,
thank you guys.
Levy Armstrong.
How are you?
Good.
To see you.
Why are you recording me?
We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you.
Did he kiss her?
Why
I'm
you
sorry.
doing it. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but
what a great friend.
Tell us why you're doing.
I mean, talk about throwing a friend under the bus. I'm a beautiful black.
Okay, now with that all been said, Queen Sam said, stop recording everything. Some planning should be done in silence. Exactly. I don't know why they recorded that. That just wasn't smart for me. Randa says they mad Don exposed the pastor as MAGA. Absolutely, beloved. That's exactly why they're mad. And here's the thing. I want you all to understand that the way they're trying to frame this in the media, they're saying that they stormed into the church. That's not what happened. And as you heard them saying right there, they said, for some of you that are going to be already inside the church, remove your activist stuff, right? So they were planted inside the church. They were sitting there like they were enjoying the service. They didn't just burst through the doors, as Pam Bondi said. Okay, they didn't just bum rush the doors and just file in. No, they were already in the church. Okay. Randa, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's go to this clip.
Don Lemon was moving when the judge didn't sign off on the charges.
I'm still here. Yeah. I'm still here. Yeah. I'm still here.
But the thing is, Don, the weapons formed against you are still prospering because you posted a video saying this.
Because it's not over. They're going to try again, and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying.
And the prosecutor retweeted that talking about, okay, so you're still in danger, but aren't we all? What I think she basically is saying here is we're still going to find another judge to sign off on the charges. The first judge didn't sign it. Cool.
Another one. Thank you.
In Don's case, out of everybody involved, I do think Don has probably the strongest case. But let me tell you what the prosecution is going to say. Like, this is how they're going to pitch it to the jury if this goes to trial. They're going to say, essentially, if you are at home and a mob, I don't think they're a mob, but that's what the prosecution is going to say. You know how they do. If you are at home and a mob comes into your house and they break in and a journalist comes into your house with them to interview you and see what's going on, would you feel some type of way? Would you think that person still broke the law in some way? But you might say, okay, but that doesn't really work. Like, Don Lemon was there as a journalist. He wasn't with the protesters. He interviewed them. He went in to chronicle the story. Like, he also interviewed the pastor, and it looked like the pastor willingly gave Don Lemon an interview. So I would definitely argue that at least at some point, Don Lemon had some type of permission to be there, at least during the course of the interview. So basically, I think out of everybody, Don Lemon has probably the best pitch. Who y'all really need to be concerned about are the protesters. Their case is a little bit harder. Now, I thought this interview was excellent. And when I found out she was a civil rights attorney, I said, oh, that makes sense, because she really laid out her entire defense right here.
And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota. And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor said, shame, shame. And that is when I led us in chants, justice for Renee Good and hands up, don't shoot.
But the response to that is on the other side, Don Lemon, well, he was being a reporter, and he did have an interview with her where earlier she said,
we show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual.
That video was posted to his channel and going viral. So, but really, y'all, aside from all that, at the end of the day, this is going to come down to whether you believe in the cause or not. Do you feel like this was an exercise of First Amendment rights and people rightfully reacting to ICE shooting and killing Renee Good? Or do you feel like a line was crossed because this was in a house of worship? And is this something you just don't do? Yes, there's always going to be a lot of law and legalese involved, but I really think what it's going to boil down to is you support the protest or you don't.
Okay, so very good points that she made. Very good points that she made. Now, Randa says the pastor never asked him to leave, though. Exactly. And also, not only that, the pastor engaged him in conversation, like was having a back and forth, like talking to him, and actually answered some of his questions. So that is definitely something, if it goes to trial, then his defense attorneys will absolutely bring attention to. All right, so thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now let's go to this clip of what Don Lemon had to say. Let me get my overlay.
want to become dictators or authoritarians and take over a country, what do? The first thing they do is get rid of the media. They shut off the radio. They have state-run TV. They have state-run radio. They have state-run newspapers. That's what's happening right now. This is much bigger than me. We are at a very critical point in the history of this nation. When they want to become dictators or authoritarians and take over a...
Let me tell you something. What Trump is trying to do here is, Don Lemon is absolutely right, because what Trump is trying to do here, and I've told you all this before, weeks ago, Trump is trying to have, you know, a government-controlled media. Okay, he's already got CBS to bend the knee. Coming after someone like Don Lemon is because Don Lemon is an independent journalist. Fired from CNN, he now is an independent journalist, and he's telling a whole lot more truth and exposing things that he was not able to do when he worked for lamestream media because his hands were tied. So now you see people like him and Joy Reid speaking out about certain things and coming out and just saying certain things. And so with that being said, that's somebody that they would definitely want to silence. They don't want independent journalists, specifically those that once worked for lamestream media, to be out here reporting, out here in the fields and drawing attention to certain things without being censored. Randa says, you can only push a lie if you quash the truth. Exactly, beloved. You're absolutely right. And that's a very good point. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Natasha says CNN was fake news. Yeah, CNN, absolutely. There was a video some years ago on YouTube where they were actually caught like staging something, allegedly. Okay, now with that all being said, let's go to this video because they're also saying that for the judge to have just refused to charge Don Lemon, they're now saying that it's a conflict of interest. Let's get into it.
Now being reported that the federal judge in Minnesota who refused to sign off on that arrest warrant for Don Lemon, his name is Douglas L. Micco, and his wife works as an assistant attorney general in Keith Ellison's office. Remember Keith Ellison, who just was subpoenaed and had this to say about storming the church with Don Lemon.
You got the First Amendment, freedom of religion, and the freedom of First Amendment, freedom of expression. And I think that, you know, it's just something you got to live with in a society like this.
Listen, I'm just going to say it again and again. If they're going to defy federal law, decide they're going to do what they want and protect their own, and Trump needs to do what Eisenhower did in '57. He needs to invoke the Insurrection Act, and he needs to take action immediately. Or maybe, I don't know, a week ago. Last I checked, we don't all answer to Minnesota, and we sure as hell don't answer to their Muslim AG who thinks that storming churches is absolutely 100% fine, but that protests against Somali fraud in downtown Minneapolis just the day before are to be met with a violent mob organized by the Council on American Islamic Relations. I mentioned, of course, the mile-long list of other things that are going wrong in Minnesota. Just do it. But yeah, it's now being reported that the federal judge in Minnesota who refused to sign off on that arrest warrant.
Okay, so she's straight MAGA all the way, no turning back. But the funny thing is, she's sitting here foolishly calling for the Insurrection Act. Well, when and if it is invoked, let's just see how they start complaining when things start affecting them, because it's all fine when they see everybody else out here in the streets getting brutalized, pepper sprayed, beaten, killed, or whatever, and it's not them. They're perfectly fine with that. But oh, when the tables turn, okay, it's going to be the same old song and dance. Please pay attention. All right, and this is what I say about racist devils.
Sir, you should be alarmed at the idea of your government attempting to use the highest, the sort of its awesome power to stop people from protesting. I'm old enough to remember when people showed up to protest against President Obama, our first Black president, with long guns, standing opposite the Capitol with long guns, and they were fully protected by the First Amendment to stand there in this threatening posture against the President of the United States. There was nothing you could do. Up until the point where they broke into the Capitol, as much as I detest MAGA, those protests were perfectly legal. As they were screaming obscenities and chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," they were protected by the First Amendment up until the point where they started literally attempting to kill police officers. Understand the broad protections of the First Amendment. They don't just protect left, they protect the right too. So if those of y'all in MAGA think you want to live in a world where the Department of Justice can prosecute you for protesting because your protest is loud, or because your protest annoys some people who are sitting in a building, or your protest is inconvenient to people, rue the day when there is a Trump on the other side who decides to wield the awesome power of the government against you. Because anything you think you're satisfied with seeing done to your opponents can be done to you too. Everyone ought to oppose. I don't care what your politics are. You ought to be really disturbed by the fact that this regime and trying to use the awesome power of the federal government against one individual for simply witnessing a protest. Whatever your
Okay, I absolutely have to agree. Now let's go to the second clip. With that being said, Randa says America is built on hypocrisy. Absolutely. Absolutely, they are. And that's another reason why I brought up, now that we're seeing their people being killed in the streets by ICE, the same as Black people being killed by the police, the same exact circumstances, and they have all of these excuses, but they don't afford us the benefit of the doubt. They make no excuses for us. Only when it's us, they make excuses for the cops to justify their behavior. Okay, and now the shoe is on the other foot. So it is absolutely hypocrisy and selective outrage. Thank you for your contribution to the channel and your insight to the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's see what they have to say on this clip.
Threatens journalists or critics for doing their jobs. They're not protecting order. It's a warning to stay quiet. And so the worst thing you can do in the face of that is to stay quiet. So kudos to you for not doing that. And we should use you as an example for every other journalist to speak loud and proud about doing their job. The First Amendment exists to protect offensive and critical speeches, right? Like, that's the point. It's not there to make sure that people say nice things. It means the right to say things that anger or speak truth to those in power. Weaponizing access and regulation is censorship in disguise. And when press access and approvals depend on some sort of editorial niceties to an administration, that is authoritarianism, and that's when we've lost democracy. Enough is enough. We need people to be freaking out about what this administration is doing across many levels, but in particular towards journalists. So I'm deeply, deeply, deeply alarmed about how you have been treated here and how this just seems to be part of a much more troubling pattern that I don't see abating anytime soon. When the government threatens journalists,
yeah, Trump is definitely coming for the journalists. Okay, now let's see what Officer Tatum with his raccoon himself. Okay, this is a clip of his about Pam Bondi talking about Don Lemon. We already know what side this raccoon is on. Clearly not ours. Please pay attention.
And let's roll it.
Those three individuals who were arrested were some of the organizers of that anti-ICE protest at the church. But Fox News has learned that a federal magistrate judge shot down multiple arrest warrants that the Justice Department tried to get for other individuals who were also involved in that protest, including former CNN anchor Don Lemon. Sources confirmed to Fox the magistrate judge who blocked the warrants is named Douglas Miko, and his wife works as an assistant attorney general in Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison's office. A source close to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi tells Fox the AG is enraged at the magistrate judge's decision and says DOJ is still pursuing charges against additional individuals related to that protest. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and other Democratic leaders argue these prosecutions and the massive immigration enforcement operation are purely political theater.
Rejecting the charges against Don Lemon smells fishy to me, and we may actually learn more about the magistrate's motivations, his bias, his conflict of interest, as Kevin.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. Officer Tatum isn't going to say anything on this clip. That's why I'm using it, because I wanted the clip of the news broadcast. He's not really going to say anything. But here's what I find interesting. Here's what I find interesting. Now, they're basically letting you know that they're just going after this man because they don't like what was said. Okay, please pay attention. Hold on, let me roll it back.
His motivations, his bias, his conflict of interest, as Kevin pointed out.
So now, so they don't like that he decided not to charge Don Lemon. So now they're going to investigate him. Are y'all listening? First of all, they talk about the conflict of interest. Okay, that makes sense. But at the end of the day, they're talking about his motivation. That's right, peaceful living. Dog whistles. Exactly. They're going to start messing with this man. They're going to start creating problems for him. And so likely when they ask another judge, that judge is going to go ahead along with it because they don't want any trouble. The intimidation tactics that they use. I mean, the nerve of Pam Blondie to sit up there and basically tell them they'll pull ICE out if they give them the voter information. Like, that's practically extortion. These people are lawless, but they want to call everybody else criminals.
You know, legally, the magistrate would have to have decided that these prosecutors did not meet the standard of probable cause. But, you know, just personally disagreeing with the wisdom or fairness of bringing the case, that's not a valid ground for overriding the charging decision. So, Sean, I thoroughly expect the DOJ to do one of two things here: either bypass the magistrate by going directly to a grand jury for an indictment against Don Lemon, or go to a real district court judge, because, you know, a magistrate is really just a ministerial assistant. You know, he handles misdemeanors and warrants and empties the trash cans.
All right, let's go to clip 102, and that's Don Lemon Juice running his mouth on TikTok. Roll the clip. Look, I stand proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again, and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Because I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to believe the same things, whether you want to, whatever. None of this is about justice.
Okay, now with that all being said, let's go to this right here where they talk about a black man who was stopped by ICE. U.S. citizen left hurt and hospitalized after ICE agents violently detained him. He's actually African. This is an African young man, and this happened to him days ago.
A citizen claims ICE agents left him hurt and hospitalized. That man, who was born in Liberia, calls it a rude awakening.
America is the place of dream. Equal opportunity, equal right, dreams, based on how I got treated yesterday.
Ubali spoke to that man and shows us the video of the controversial confrontation.
Cell phone video shows the encounter between Emmanuel Saki and federal agents outside Family Dollar in Brooklyn Park.
Started saying, "Oh, whose car is this? This car is coming to register as somebody named Joseph." I'm like, "No, this car is registered in my fiance's name."
Saki, a Liberian-born, naturalized U.S. citizen, says he showed the agents his driver's license, his name, his photo, proof of who he is.
Asked me, "Can you give more proof that you are a citizen?" I told him, "I don't have the proof on me right now."
That's when he says the situation escalated and a struggle ensued, with Saki in handcuffs before being put in a federal vehicle.
I'm a legal citizen, and this is my first time being handcuffed in my whole life.
He says he was taken to an unknown location before being let go. He says he was badly bruised and went to the hospital.
I've been treated like an animal. It already hurt me.
He says he immigrated legally to the United States for a better life and to reunite with family.
I tell America is the place of dream. Equal opportunity, equal right, dreams, based on how I got treated yesterday.
For Saki, he says his oath of citizenship and this certificate didn't protect him.
I feel like This ain't no dreaming America.
Uba Ali, WCCO News.
This U.S. citizen claims ICE agents.
Okay, so what do you all think about that? What do you all think about that? Absolutely nefarious. And here's the thing. So he was in for a rude awakening because at the end of the day, that's not what he expected. They tell them when they're coming here, when they're vetting them, that we're the ones to watch out for. We're the ones that are the problem. We're the ones that are nefarious and that will try to do them harm and all of those things. We know the lies they tell, how they try to sow seeds of division before they even get here good. But now he sees. Okay, the same smoke they give us, they can give it to you too. Okay, nobody's exempt under Trump's administration. Nobody is protected. Okay, nobody. At the end of the day, and he was crying. You could tell his feelings were very hurt, and he was clearly traumatized, I'm sure. All right. Southern Breeze said, I think they should have listened to us. You know, well, sometimes when people fail to listen, they have to unfortunately learn the hard way. Okay. That's how that goes. Sometimes you just got to learn the hard way. But let's continue. With that all being said, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now let's go to this video with Tiffany Cross humiliating the MAGA clown by the name of Scott Jennings. Okay, this man, he has it bad. I want you all to pay attention, honey. This man has it bad. I just happened to run across this clip the other day, and I'm like, ooh. Okay, he is all on Trump's tips. I mean, really hard. Pay attention.
Liars. You call anybody who votes Republican, you say they don't have a moral compass. I mean,
I didn't say anybody who votes Republican. I said the people who voted for Donald Trump.
Okay,
They
he's a
cannot be
Republican,
surprised.
and he won in November with Republicans who voted for him. So don't back away from.
But I'm not backing away. I don't think they have a moral compass.
That's how you feel, but I'm not.
You don't ever have to worry about me backing away from
I
that
don't
point.
feel. I don't
say
feel like I
they
have to
don't have a
respond to
moral
these
compass.
attacks. In fact, I think you ought to ask her if she really believes that.
It is not meant to be an insult. It is when you say things like that. It's just not true.
Let me just ask
I mean,
you,
if somebody's insulted, that's okay, but that's not my intention. I'm saying it might be an insult, but if you lie, then we should acknowledge that you're a liar.
To clarify.
So MAGA bootlicker Scott Jennings got destroyed once again on Abby Phillips' show. This time it was Tiffany Cross who literally humiliated Scott and exposed his lies. I'm going to roll the video first, and I'll talk about it afterwards.
Let's pick up where we left off. The Trump administration is now facing a lot of public backlash about how immigration enforcement is going in the country. And according to Axios, Trump's advisors are quietly talking about recalibrating the White House's approach, though it's unclear what changes Trump would embrace, if any. A top advisor told Axios, quote, he wants deportations, he wants mass deportations. What he doesn't want is what people are seeing. He doesn't like the way it looks. It looks bad, so he's expressed some discomfort at that. There's the right way to do this, and this doesn't look like the right way to a lot of people. Do you believe that they would change course?
No. I think this is unfortunately what a lot of the people in America voted for. I think it looks bad to people with a sense of moral compass. I don't know that we have that a lot among Trump supporters, unfortunately. We already are. You keep smirking, Scott, but I mean, you say on this show routinely horrific things. You make jokes about people in prison in El Salvador. I mean, these things they speak to the heart of Americans and what we see people are going through. It's not a political standpoint to me. We try to see the humanity in people, and it doesn't seem like people on the right side are capable of that. This is what people voted for. We knew very well who Trump was during the first term, where he had the family separation policies, where he was putting children in cages. People voted for that again and again. I'm done pretending that there are people out there who will see this and be outraged by it. The polling numbers just show that's not true. People will say they don't like it, but they showed up to the voting booth and voted for him again and again. Of the of nearly 70,000 people in ICE custody right now, less than, I believe, 10% have criminal convictions. I mean, the data shows time and again that this is an unfair, inhumane policy, And so, no, Abby, I don't think this is going to make a difference. I'm really concerned about who exactly is working for ICE. Like there has not, as far as I know, there has not been any extensive investigation into these hiring practices. I'm curious how many Proud Boys are on the payroll at ICE. There was a Slate journalist who tried to get hired at ICE after a 6-minute interview. She was offered a job without any of the background checks, without even a domestic violence background check. They are casting a wide net of deplorable people who hold certain ideological beliefs, people who have Nazi tattoos on their necks, and descending them on American cities. And it's costing local municipalities millions of dollars.
Scott.
Respond to what?
What she just said.
Oh, you're worried about tattoos like the guy that's going to win the main Senate primary with
Here
the
we
Nazi
go.
tattoos?
Let's deflect. Like, let's
No, I'm asking.
focus
If you're worried about tattoos,
but
I'm just
let's
asking.
talk about what's happening in America.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to respond to ad hominem attacks on 70 million Americans who decided to vote Republican in the November 2024 election. I don't think it's right. You come out here, you call people liars, you call anybody who votes Republican, you say they don't have a moral compass. I mean, I
didn't say anybody who votes Republican. I said the people who voted for Donald Trump.
Okay,
they
he's a Republican, and he won in November with Republicans who voted for him. So don't back away from your
I'm not backing away. I don't think they have a moral compass.
That's how you feel, but I'm not.
You don't ever have to worry about me backing away from that point.
I don't feel like I have to respond to these attacks. In fact, I think you ought to ask her if she really believes 70 million people lack a moral compass.
I believe people who saw what Trump did and voted for him lack a moral compass.
God, Scott is such a.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. He's sitting there like a big kid throwing a temper tantrum. He's so mad. He's literally seething. Literally seething. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. And then he tried to deflect when she said something about the Yahtzee tattoos. Okay? He wants to deflect and gaslight. That's all devils like him can ever do. Because they never can have a legit explanation for the nefariousness. They never can have any, because if they really want to tell the truth about it, well, it's absolutely what she said. People that have no moral compass. These MAGA people out here going along with what Trump's doing, you think they have a moral compass? You think there's anything about them that has any hints of humanity when they don't care about people getting murdered in the streets, even people who look like them, only because they have a different ideology? Okay, so they do lack a moral compass. There's no lies detected. They are the most wicked, nefarious of the bunch, as far as I'm concerned. And they've always been. That's why when they start saying things, oh, I can't believe how far America has fallen. Fallen where? This is what America is and has always been. Only now the things that they've done to us are now they're doing it to each other. Just like I told you all they would. Just like I told you all they would. At the end of the day, yes, it is sad that people are losing their lives. American citizens out here in the streets, innocent, peacefully protesting, losing their lives at the hand of ICE. It is very sad. But again, we have to think about how you allow things to happen to other people and you sit idly by and turn a blind eye. So you should not be shocked later when those same things start to happen to you. I mean, I don't know how people don't get that. Okay? I just don't know how they don't get it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. We're almost done. The next thing I want to go to is Jack Smith. Let's go to a clip from Jack Smith's testimony. And then I'll tell you something. Remember what Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Okay, so you sit there and watch other people have injustices perpetuated upon them and you say nothing. You have no problem watching. Well, then sooner or later it's going to be your turn. And I'll guarantee you then you're going to want everybody to be in an uproar and talking about it. Okay, and trying to save you from your plights. Because one thing about life is what goes around always comes back around. And that's just facts. Okay? That's just facts. Now, with that all being said, and here's another thing for you all to think about. Here's the thing. If we were not here, they would have been turning on each other a long time ago. Okay? They take out their anger and frustrations and rage on us, okay, with their racism and the hateful rhetoric and all of those things. But at the end of the day, when we're not around, what else would they do besides turn on each other? Because some people are just inherently violent, okay? And they have to be violent. And at some point, if the people that are the source of their disdain are not in the vicinity, then they'll turn to those who are. That's how that goes. Okay, so let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Consistent with the law and consistent with Department.
Mr. Chairman, we have the evidence that an Article 1 representative on behalf of the president withheld Article 3.
Mr. Chairman, are we the same leniency?
And with that, I yield back in disgust of this witness.
Oh, they didn't tell the judge they were targeting the Speaker of the House. Convenient again? Yeah, total slimeball energy. And just when you think the tricks are over, Jack Smith wasn't even sworn in on day one. He was officially sworn in a year later. The paperwork he signed initially didn't have a signature of a witness, which is required for legitimacy. That means technically he wasn't a legitimate special counsel at the start of this investigation. Watch him squirm through this exchange. It's peak caught with your hand in a cookie jar energy.
So why did you take the oath of office again on the 14th of September of the following year when you say you took the office in November of 2022? Why'd you need to do it twice?
My recollection is that I took the oath of office, as you said, it was the 18th or the 20th, and felt I was under the oath of office. I believe, if you have it in front of you, I think I signed an oath.
You signed it, but there was no witness. There was supposed to be either notarized or a witness, and apparently Attorney General Garland thought it was significant enough to have you do another oath 11 months later. That's strange, right?
I don't know why they asked me to sign it again. I don't recall ever discussing this issue with Attorney General Garland.
He's squirming. He is clearly uncomfortable here. And let's be honest, he's lying. I can guarantee every single one of these representatives remembers the day they were sworn in. It's not some minor footnote. It's a big deal. And speaking of people who apparently have no sense of reality, let's talk about Gavin Newsom. The man has been humiliated multiple times on the global stage in Davos, yet somehow he keeps showing up. Why he has not decided to pack it up is beyond me. But for reasons only he understands, he went for round 2. And the moderator made him relive the Scott Bessent roast. Watch him get visibly angry over this.
Treasury Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken. The White House Communications Director.
That was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury.
I have a couple more, and then you can respond. The White House Communications Director called you Gavin Newscomb, and an official White House account, a federal government account, described you with I'd say very online sexual slur that people here probably don't want to hear at 8:30 in the morning. And you're, in some sense, responding in kind, and waving the kneecaps around.
Fire with fire.
Do you think? Should you? I mean, is that kind of discourse from you, from them, good for America?
No, it's deeply unbecoming. Come on, of course it is. It's not what we should be doing.
If it's not what you should be doing,
Consistent with the law and consistent with Department.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Now, she was acting like they were really onto something with Jack Smith, as though his testimony is not going to be valid. Okay, but here's the thing, though. He was a special counsel, not an elected officer. Okay, he was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland, so he did not take the constitutional oath that presidents or members of Congress or judges take. Okay, but however, as a DOJ official, he did take a federal employee oath. Okay, the standard oath required under 5 U.S.C. Statute 3331. Now, that oath is about supporting and defending the Constitution and faithfully executing duties, but it's not an office of the United States oath under Article 2, mind you. Okay, so that all being said, this distinction is why you can see arguments claiming that he was not a Senate confirmed officer, or they say he was not holding a constitutional office. Therefore, his appointment authority could be challenged. But the exact issue is what fueled some of the, or that specific issue is what fueled some of the legal attacks on his authority in the Trump cases. Now, the bottom line is not under a constitutional oath of office like an elected official, but he wasn't an elected official. He was sworn in, okay, appointed by Merrick Garland, sworn in under the standard DOJ federal employee oath, and his authority depended on DOJ regulations, not election or Senate confirmation, okay? So with that all being said, whether someone takes the constitutional oath of office has nothing to do with whether their testimony can be used in court. What matters is whether the witnesses or the witness was sworn in before testifying, the perjury oath given to witnesses. Okay, and as long as Jack Smith was sworn in as a witness to tell the truth, the whole truth, and all that, his testimony is absolutely valid and admissible. Okay, now those are federal employees testify in court every year. Agents, analysts, clerks, none of those are constitutional officers, and their testimonies are routinely admitted. Okay, please pay attention. And even if the court were to find a defect in Smith's appointment, and most courts rejected that, it would not retroactively invalidate factual testimony that he gave under oath. All right. Because, you know, courts separate certain things, such as authority to act versus competence to testify. Okay, those are not the same thing. So with that all being said, I don't know why she was getting all excited. Now, one box says, Queen, you just said something uniquely true, and I don't think people got it. And those type are spiritually murderous. There's definitely a type of those folk. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And those fall under MAGA, okay? People with no empathy and sympathy. And listen, just because you have a different ideology than them, a different view in political or religion or anything like that, that's enough for them to just not even mind if somebody just takes you up out of here for exercising your rights. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention at the end of the day. But oh, wait until the tides turn, and then some of these practices that Trump and his administration are engaging in start to negatively impact them. And oh, I promise you they will. They're going to be acting just like they did, beloveds, when the pandemic ensued. You all remember how they acted when the pandemic ensued and everybody was on lockdown, and only these certain stores or businesses they called essential businesses were only allowed to be open, and many of them couldn't have their businesses open and they were losing money. Remember all of the melee and the chaos and how they were so upset, and the ones down there in Michigan went to the courthouse, okay, and they went to the Capitol, and they were talking about what they were going to do to the governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Do y'all remember that? Some of them even plotted to kidnap her and have her tried for treason because they were so angry that they had to wear masks. Do you all remember the foolishness that went on? They're going to be right back at it. I want you all to pay attention. Now, they're sitting here thinking it's all good and it's all gravy now because nothing's bad is happening to them as far as they can see. Oh, they love to see the beatings and the melee and the people getting jumped by the nefarious, overzealous ICE agents, okay, who probably are spawned from hate groups, no less. They love to see it. Get them out of here. This country's been invaded. That's how they think. Okay, that's how they think. Where are the Black people? Get them out there so they can get some of the smoke too. What are they waiting on? That's how they think. These people who don't like people who look like me and who don't like anyone who doesn't look like them, i.e. immigrants. Okay? But oh, like I said, when the tides turn and it starts to negatively impact them, they're going to be singing a whole nother tune. And I guarantee you that day is coming. Now, One Box, thank you for your insight into the topic. Thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Randa Wise says, these ICE goons and MAGA will answer one day. Absolutely. Absolutely. At the end of the day, karma knows everyone's address. Okay? And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. With that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. I may come back later, especially if there's some breaking news. So until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me?